Our goal today is to familiarize Somerset residents with the programs, the rich cultural programs at OLLI, knowing that we already have several members, as Ganella said, who already take advantage of the lectures and the incredible classes. We call them study groups. So thanks. I think that you'll find this a real treat for those who are already involved with OLLI and those who are not as familiar with us. So I'll introduce myself briefly. I'm Ellen Babby. I'm Ganella Summer resident. I moved here with my husband, Lana, just over 5 years ago. We're in building 2, and we've really been enjoying it. I've had a long career in higher education, so I've been aware of the Osher lifelong learning programs around the country. And the one at AU is recognized as probably among the few strongest OLLI programs in the country. And for one obvious reason, the rich opportunities that we speakers and study group leaders within the whole Washington, D.C. community. So we are really fortunate from that perspective. I'm here with 2 colleagues, Tony Long, who is the CEO of OLLI, and David Flaxman, who is the chair of our board of directors. And I'll say just briefly that the 2 areas that are reasons that I value most my affiliation with OLLI, first of all, the intellectual stimulation, growth, and learning I have experienced over the past 5 years in being involved with this OLLI at American University. I've taken some fantastic courses. Among my favorites are by David. I love music, and David Flaxman is the person who teaches most of the music classes. He's a revered study group leader. And I'll just put in a plug for his fall and spring class. Those 2 will be devoted entirely to Johann Sebastian Bach. So I personally am very excited about that one. Wonderful courses I've taken on the Supreme Court, on foreign policy. There are a record number of classes this fall, 105 that Tony will talk about. But the other reason is building community. I've met some wonderful people through OLLI that share my lifelong learning passion. So they do a number of things. They have a personal social area for the in-person classes. So many opportunities to meet people through OLLI. And courses are offered on Zoom, in person, and hybrid. So let me just quickly introduce our 2 speakers, and then finally at the after they each speak, we'll be joined very briefly by Martha Cutts, a former board chair, and by Somerset's own Ken Sale, who will also say a few words, and others, as Gail has said, who want to chime in later. We want to make sure there's ample time for questions and comments. So Tony Long is the 4th executive director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at American University in its 42-year history. He started at OLLI in 2013 as a curriculum coordinator, then became deputy executive director and has been executive director since 2018. He has spoken at several national OLLI conferences, and he serves as a mentor for many OLLI programs throughout the country. As you'll see when he takes over in a second, he is passionate about OLLI, and I find that his enthusiasm is infectious. And then you'll meet David Flaxman currently serves as the chair of the board of directors. He's also, as I said, a study group leader. He is president of the City Choir of Washington, president of the Georgetown Chorale. He's treasurer of the Washington Douglas Chorale. In his spare time, he sings with the Choral Arts Society of Washington and the Heritage Signature Chorale. Now, interestingly, he's had a long career as a computer scientist, software engineer, and executive with several financial services and technology companies. But he began a second career as a musician and teacher about a decade ago. So David is fluent in French and Italian, speaks Spanish, German, and Polish, not at all intimidating, David. He joined OLLI as a member initially owing to an interest in French and took a class, and his journey he'll talk about with you later. So let me just turn this over to Tony.
Ellen, thank you so much. I want to start off by thanking Ellen for Ganella and Ganella for making this opportunity available for us. We're really excited about this presentation today. And I also want to thank Lisa Olson, who is joining us today. She is my OLLI's Director of Operations, and she's going to be managing the PowerPoint slides and the questions and making me look better with technology than I am. So just a few housekeeping issues before we get started. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Zoom, but for those of you who are not, in the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom screen, there's a tab that says View. And if you click on that, you can choose to view this presentation in several different ways. You should be able to see the presentation that we have on the slide on right now, but you can click side-by-side speaker, which allows you to see that presentation and just the speaker at that time. Or what most people will probably want to do is click side-by-side gallery, which allows you to see the PowerPoint presentation and the other attendees for the presentation. So feel free to do whichever of those you're most comfortable with. But because we do want to spend as much time as possible in the Q&A portion of the presentation, I just want to go over a couple of things. I would ask that everybody mute themselves just so that we don't have any interruptions during the presentation. And then when we get to the Q&A, you should feel free to unmute yourselves. If you have we're not going to take questions during the presentation, but if you have a burning question that you want to add to the chat function of Zoom, please feel free to do that. There's a chat button at the bottom of the screen. Just make sure you click on chat so that everyone can view it, so that we'll all be able to see the questions as you're asking them. I do remind people that the presentation is being recorded, and I want to let you know that you're going to be given a lot of information right now. You certainly don't have to retain it all. All of this information is available on our website, and I'll provide all of that information at the end of the presentation. And again, this is being recorded, and we will pass that on to Gunilla and to forward to you or to anybody you would like to send it on. So you see on the slide is OLLI at AU and lifelong learning. Our motto is that curiosity never retires. And it really is who we are. This is a group of 1,600 people. The OLLI standard is people who are 50 and older. Most of our members, our average age is 77 right now. But we have members that range well above and below that. So just a sense of who we are. Lisa, can you go ahead and go to the next slide? So just to give you a little bit of history of who we are, we actually started at American University in 1982 as the Institute for, if you just go back, yeah, there, thank you, as the Institute for Learning and Retirement. And we actually became part of the OSHR network in 2006. And the OSHR network was begun by Bernard Osher. You may or may not have heard his name, but he was highly successful in the business world and decided that he wanted to take high caliber academic programming in classrooms with his peers. So he put his money where that ambition was and decided to endow OLLIs throughout the country. And his goal originally was at least one OLLI in each state plus the District of Columbia. And there are now 125 OLLIs throughout the country plus DC. We are the only OLLI in Washington, DC. We are a volunteer-led organization. We have about 1,600 members. And in any given year, we have about 500 or so volunteer positions filled by about 300 to 350 volunteers, depending on the year. So it's a fairly big program, but all of our volunteers, I'm sorry, all of the members who participate in our program are volunteers. That's everybody from the board of directors to committee members to our instructors. And I just want to say, we, as much as we are interested in encouraging people to consider looking at the OLLI program to take classes, if there is any possibility that you have any interest in teaching a class, that is something we would also be very interested in talking to you about. So with that, Lisa, could you go to the next slide? So I'm going to talk about the fall semester, the upcoming fall semester in a minute. But I just wanted to share with you a quote that I received. I received a text message from one of my board members about an hour ago. So I was eager to add this quote to the presentation because I think it perfectly illustrates the depth and range of our courses and how passionate our members feel about it. So I'll just leave that on the screen for a moment for you to take in. I think it's so well written. I love it. So the person who sent this to me is one of our current board members and a former board chair, and he's deeply dedicated to taking OLLI courses. Let's leave that there for one more second. Okay. Lisa, I think we can move on to the next one. So what I want to talk about now is how OLLI at AU is structured. I will say that each OLLI around the country is structured differently. They all act independent from one another. We certainly have a network and we collaborate with one another, but each OLLI around the country runs its own program. The way we're structured is we have 5 academic sessions per year. We have our standard fall and spring course semesters, which are 8 to 10 weeks. And then we have 3 smaller sessions. We have our February and July courses, and those run 3 to 5 sessions over the course of 1 week in February and July. And then in June, we have a series of 4-week courses. I will say that OLLI has been recognized as having the most academically rigorous program in the nation. And yes, we say that all the time because we like to brag about it and we take great pride in it. I would love to say I had something to do with that, but we really are blessed by the members and geography, right? This is DC is where you're going to get the caliber of people who make up this robust program. This fall semester, we have a record 105 courses. And one of the great things about our program is that we offer our courses in a variety of ways. We have in-person courses, we have online courses, and we have hybrid courses. Now, hybrid is defined differently from different OLLIs. The way we define it is people who are in person and online simultaneously. That is a technologically a difficult thing to do. One of the people who has mastered it is David Flaxman, whom you'll be hearing from shortly. But we have a pretty good split this semester. It's almost 50% in person and online courses. All of our classes are 90 minutes long. And one of the things, I'll talk more about the benefits of OLLI membership, but one of the things we're most excited about is we are one of the few OLLIs in the country that records most of our classes. We allow that, whether a class is recorded or not is the prerogative of the instructor, but an overwhelming majority of our instructors do have their courses recorded. And one of the great things is a benefit of membership is you get access to the full range of recordings for the semester, not just the courses you're registered for, but for the full range of courses. So if you're registered for 3 classes, you can view another 70 of them online if you choose to spend your days and nights watching recordings. All of our classes have state-of-the-art technology, and we have incorporated, I'm sure many of you are familiar with hearing loops, which is a technology where people can either wear a loop with headphones or connect through their hearing aids if there are hearing issues so that they can participate more fully in the class. And I just saw a chat question about how do we get a catalog. I will go into all of that, but you certainly may email my office or call us. The email and phone number are right there at the bottom of that page. And I will also provide our website address at the end of the presentation. But the flexibility of the recordings really makes participation in the program much easier for people who travel a lot. So Lisa, could you go to the next slide? So the way our curriculum is set up, we are much like a small liberal arts college. You'll see the 8 subject categories there, politics and government, and you can see the music, visual arts. And I'm just providing the briefest sampling of some of the courses that have been so popular for us lately. We, as Ellen mentioned, we have the Bach course, we have German, Art Fraud, the Middlemarch by George Eliot, just an incredible range of courses. There are literally dozens of other courses on here I could have mentioned. We have a really robust language section, our French and Italian, Spanish, German, but really the philosophy courses, history courses, our literature courses are really quite popular. So again, I'm not pushing people to teach here, but if you do have any interest in teaching a course or having a discussion about teaching a course at OLLI, that's something we would be very happy to talk to you about. But again, even as considering this as a member, these are really quite, it's a robust program, and I would encourage you to go to our website. In fact, when I give you the website address, when you go to register or to view courses, you can search for courses in a variety of ways. You can do that either through subject matter, or you can say, I'm only available these times of the week, so let me see what courses you have available then. You can sort by online versus in-person courses. There really are a variety of ways you can search, and that will become apparent to you as soon as you take a look at our website. So Lisa, could you go to so obviously the core of our program are the courses that I was just describing to you, but we have supplements to that. We have a really robust lecture series that is free and open to the public. You do not have to be an OLLI member to attend our lectures. And our lectures are either online or in person, and we advertise which format we're using per lecture. And we'll be posting our fall lecture series in the coming month. But just to describe to you what the program is, during the fall and spring, we have Friday lectures from 1:30 to 2:30 in our building at the Spring Valley building. And we are, just to give you a sense of where we are directly across from the Crate and Barrel on Mass Avenue in Spring Valley. So that's where our Friday courses are. January and May lectures are online courses. And we have a program called our Serendipities. That is a supplement to our lecture series. And what that program is about is giving opportunities to either our members or to people our members know who may have an interest in speaking. It's just a way to augment our Friday lecture series. And you can see here a list of some of the recent lecturers that we've had. And I'm happy to say that we've had, this coming fall, we have a lecture from Ambassador Carla Hills, who is also a Somerset resident. She'll be speaking this fall. I don't know the date of that yet, but again, we'll be posting that. And we recently had Stuart Eisenstadt and Marion Lewin, both who are Somerset residents who spoke to our program. So it's a really incredible program. And again, this is free and open to the public. You do not have to be a member, but I would just encourage you to go to our website to get information about that when it becomes available for fall. Lisa, could you go to the... So I've gone over some of the benefits, but just a couple other things on here as an OLLI member. In addition to the programming in the digital library that I just told you about with recordings and the lecture series, you have access to the AU library. Um, I just heard that you have a pretty fantastic gym there, but we offer there is a gym at AU that is available to people at a discounted rate. We do have parking in the building. It's pretty cheap. It's $2 an hour, but there's parking in the building, and we do provide weekly newsletters, and we have a fair amount of social activities at OLLI. So I would encourage you um, to take a look at all of that on the website. Again, all of that is on our website, so please don't feel, I know I'm going through this pretty quickly, but I want to allow time for the Q&A. So OLLI is about academics, but it is also about community. Personal connections are a core of who we are. I have developed so many deep personal friendships with OLLI people myself. And I know that is true for our members as well. Some of the deepest, most meaningful friendships some of our members have have come from their connection with OLLI. But as Ellen said, we do have a social space on the 5th floor of our building. But we have ad hoc groups like book groups and discussion groups. Martha's on here. We actually have a knitting group called the Knitwits. So they're pretty. They get together pretty regularly. We have other holiday parties and member events, and we also do day trips. And these are just a few of the most recent day trips that we've done. So those are all very popular things at OLLI, and we post those as they become available. So with that, I went through this really quickly because I do really want to I do want to allow as much time as possible for the Q&A. But now it is my privilege to reintroduce to you David Flaxman, who is our current board chair and study group leader extraordinaire. So with that, I will now pass it on to David.
Thank you, Tony, and good afternoon, everybody. Lisa, why don't you go to the next slide? So what I want to do is I just want to tell you a little bit about my OLLI story. Tony had mentioned that in addition to letting you know about all the academic opportunities at OLLI, there are also opportunities to teach for some of you, and that is a path that I have traversed. As Ellen mentioned, my first career was as a computer scientist, software developer, and then technology executive. One of my last companies was invented the massively parallel relational database machine, which is probably something very meaningful to all of you. And we did so well, we were able to sell the company to IBM, and that enabled me to think about transitioning to my second career as a musician and a teacher. I have been a French speaker for most of my life, and in my second chapter of my life, I had gotten involved with a wonderful French book club at the Bethesda Public Library that had been founded by a Maryland professor, a French woman. And while I was there, there was a woman in the class who asked me if I was taking this class at OLLI, given by Kathleen Sandifer. And I was like, what's OLLI? I had no idea. So, I looked into it. I signed up for Kathleen's class. She's absolutely wonderful. She is Sorbonne trained and had taught at Sorbonne and Sciences Po and other places like that. And now has an American husband and lives in the area and teaches a class or two a year. But then after I was involved with that, then I had a friend who knew I spoke Italian, and he was looking for somebody to help him teach an Italian class. So he said, well, how about helping me teach this class? So I was not ready to teach a class, but I was ready to help with a class. So I did that. Then after that, I had a friend who knew that I was a musician and said, well, why you should be teaching music classes at OLLI. So I started doing that. So you can see I sort of gradually got more and more involved. Next slide, please, Lisa. So, after teaching for some time at OLLI in the spring of 2020, I had just started teaching my class on Johannes Brahms and the Schumanns. It's a story about, many of you may know that there was this close personal relationship between Brahms and the Schumanns, which I won't go into today. After the first week, the pandemic hit, and Tony had to reach out to all the professors to say, is anybody willing to transition to Zoom? And fortunately, we had been experimenting with Zoom, testing a little bit. And I was like, you know, I'm a computer guy. I can do it on Zoom. So I taught my class on Zoom. It went very well. And then in the fall, we were still all Zoom. And I taught a class on Mozart. And I had 330 students online, including, now that I was teaching online, my now almost 99-year-old father signed up for my class from Metropolitan Chicago. I get calls from him after every class with a critique. Fortunately, the critique is always, that's the best one yet. But anyway, so once we returned to in person, and we did go through a process of encouraging people to come back into the building, because we do want to emphasize that we are a social club as well as a liberal arts university, and there are benefits to being in the building. But I had this large following online, including my father, so I decided to offer my class in hybrid. And as Tony alluded to, I have had fair amount of success with hybrid. Typically I'll have 80 to 100 people in the classroom, and then over 100 online. Next slide, please. Okay.
To them.
So,
When I listen to this first,
all right, hold it. Can you
to
stop
them.
there for 1 second? Okay.
To
All right.
them.
So what I want to do now is I want to give you just a taste of what my classes are like. So I typically, it's not 100% the case, but typically, particularly if I'm focusing on a composer or two composers, I will tell the story of that composer's music intertwined with his or her life story. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a deeper appreciation for classical music, for composers and performers. And I found as a listener, I find it interesting to know the backstory of the composer's life when I'm listening to the music. I do dip into a little bit of music theory at times, not enough to hurt anybody, but certainly to satisfy the appetite of some of our more advanced students. And what you're going to hear in this little clip, so this is a clip from my Mahler class from the spring of 2023. Mahler has become one of the most popular composers in our era, thanks to the great work in the 50s and 60s of Leonard Bernstein. And in fact, the National Symphony Orchestra now is one of the best Mahler orchestras in the world. I grew up in Chicago with the Chicago Symphony, and they were the best Mahler orchestra in the world. So I'm a big fan of Mahler. Love teaching classes about his music. In this one, you'll just get a little sense for. I talk a little bit about the piece, and then I'll play some clips. In this one, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the relationship between Mahler's Sixth Symphony, his tragic symphony, and his life. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how different conductors will play his music differently. And I'll give you, 20 seconds of a recent recording by the Oslo Symphony, which takes his opening march at a gentle pace. And then we'll switch to Bernstein, who takes the opening march at a faster pace. Okay, go ahead now, Lisa.
To them. When I listen to this first movement with this march, and then sort of the hints back at that march throughout the symphony, I see Mahler viewing himself as, this is me going forward, doing my job, and I'm moving towards my goals and doing my job. And then stuff starts to happen to him. And so think about it that way. You'll hear suddenly, then you start to hear, sadder sounding little violin sections. You start to hear this mystical music from far away. And then, later on in the fourth movement, he's marching along, and then things happen. And all of a sudden you get this hammer blow. So I do sort of view this as Mahler sort of, in a way, this is a cathartic expression of his own personal psychology, this symphony, where he's saying, here I am, I'm going forward, I'm the successful guy, and everything's going good, and then stuff just happens to him, and can he recover from it? So
All right, next slide.
Paul Becker, one of the many So we talked a little bit about Tempe in Mahler, and there are many different interpretations. We've talked about Klemperer, who tends to be on the far end of let's play Mahler as slowly as possible. I want to savor every note. And then you have Bernstein, who tends to like sort of the widest range of extremes in Tempe. He'll play certain things almost as slowly as Kemperer and other things as wildly and as frenzied as anybody. Orozco Estrada tends to be and Abbado tend to be a little bit on the aggressive side, which I historically have liked, although there are times when I think it's better to play some of the stuff more slowly. So this guy with the Oslo Symphony, this is Juha-Pekka Saraste, I think. Yeah, Juha-Pekka Saraste. And he's conducting that Oslo Philharmonic, which we heard with Mahler 1, with the young guy. He's a little bit on the slow side, but it's very beautiful. And so I want to give you the first couple of minutes of this opening march, and then I'm going to give you Bernstein playing it a little more aggressively. So here's the Oslo with Saraste playing the opening march from the first movement. So we've talked a little bit about Tempe in Mahler, and
there we go.
Okay, so now here's Bernstein. So this is from the 70s with the Vienna Philharmonic. The Oslo thing is just from last year, and you're going to hear this first march taken significantly faster.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. All right, so let's go to the next slide. So you might have noticed that Bernstein, in trying to play it at a faster tempo, initially had trouble getting the Vienna Philharmonic to play at his tempo. They are renowned for that, I will say, but we'll leave that for another day. Okay, as I mentioned before, I'm going to wrap up. The Mozart class had a lot of students. And at the end, people said to me, gee, you know, Mozart, you could have done that over 2 semesters. So that's what I'm going to do this year. People have been asking me for several years to teach a class on Johann Sebastian Bach, and I am undertaking that. That is my summer vacation project. I'm developing 2 classes on Bach that I will begin to offer on September 23rd and then again in the spring. And, you know, again, I'm going to cover his life story. It's going to be as chronological as you can be with Bach, but you'll hear, you know, his toccata and fugue in D minor, his great cantatas, B minor Mass, St. Matthew Passion, and plenty more. Okay, and I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to ex-board chair, ex-development committee chair, teacher of German extraordinaire, and one of the most invaluable resources at OLLI, Martha Cutts.
Thank you, David. Surveys that we've done at OLLI tell us that most members learned about OLLI through word of mouth. And that was certainly true for me. 8 years ago, just before I retired, a friend told me about OLLI. Now, I had been in school each year since kindergarten as either a student, a teacher, or an administrator. So I saw OLLI as an obvious fit for me. People have mentioned the amazing array of courses. And when I think back about all the courses I've taken, it is truly amazing. Here's a sample of some of them. I started out with one on Ring Lardner's baseball stories. I've taken a lot of philosophy, Aristotle, Plato, Kant, Hegel, and more. I've taken many of David Flaxman's wonderful music appreciation classes. I took a class on astrophysics. The teacher desperately wanted us to understand Einstein's theory of relativity. I took one on the octopus and origins of intelligence. I've taken literature classes. I took one on war and peace. Wonderful, wonderful things. And they're all risk-free because there are no grades. You don't have to worry about that. 2 years ago, I was asked to teach a beginning German class. I had never taught adults before, but I have to tell you, I have been having so much fun. Because first of all, teaching at OLLI is a dream. You don't have to give grades. You don't have to give tests. You have students who are there because they want to be there. They're hardworking. It is just a delight. So really, OLLI has been the highlight of my retirement. Now, when we started out, Ellen talked a little bit about community, and I want to come back to that because that is such an important part of the OLLI experience. First of all, we have a wonderful, warm, and helpful staff. We also have volunteers who serve as welcomers who reach out to new members to OLLI in their first session just to see if they have any questions. We ask people to wear name tags in classes so you get to know one another. As mentioned, there are social events, and hundreds of people get involved by volunteering. So it's another great way to meet people. And I've made terrific friends through OLLI. So I hope that with the varied formats and the enticing classes, that you will think about trying OLLI and that you have a wonderful experience as I did. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ken Sale.
Martha said that OLLI was a highlight of her post-retirement years, and I have to say that that's exactly my life as well. People ask me, what do you do? How do you keep busy in your retirement? And I kind of look at them because I'm always busy. And a lot of the busyness comes from OLLI and taking classes, doing the reading. Reading in any of the classes is really, really important. People fear a class that has reading in it, but reading then promotes discussion, and discussion amongst the OLLI people is some of the best minds, certainly in Washington, D.C., and it's just very, very stimulating. Classes that I've taken, I've been taking classes for 10 years at OLLI, and I surprised myself by taking classes that I never had any interest in until my old age. One started with the Civil War, and then I took another one on the Civil War, and I ended up taking 7 different classes on the Civil War. It just fascinated me. Another was on the Victorian novels, a class on Dickens, and then they had a class on George Eliot's Middlemarch. Those I found very fascinating. I took a class on poetry. I thought it was the book that was being used in the class interested me, and so I bought the book and I started the class, and it turned out it was a class in writing poetry, which I was afraid of it. The others in the class were very good at it, and what I liked most about the class was to sit among these people who were so talented, and they would read their poetry that they wrote that week, and I would just sit there amazed at the bright people that we have in OLLI. OLLI is like going back to school or going to school, and I enjoyed undergrad, I enjoyed graduate school, and this is more like that. one of the things, class that I took a couple years ago, and I'm going to take it again this year. But what was interesting about it is it's on the New Yorker magazine. And what the class is you select an article from the New Yorker. You tell your classmates what the article is. You prepare a presentation on that article. You have the classmates read that article, and then we all discuss that particular article. There was an article in the New Yorker on the rock musician Prince. I knew nothing about Prince. I knew nothing about his music, but I read the article and I thought, okay, I'm going to present that. One of my colleagues in the class has become a friend who lives here in Somerset too, Wendy Shapiro. And after I did the presentation of Prince, Wendy came up to me. She says, "Why did you do that? How did you do that?" I mean, like I said, Wendy, I knew nothing about him. That's why I did it. From that day, she told me the other day, she still listens to Prince on a very regular basis from the class on the New Yorker. I highly recommend OLLI to everybody here at Somerset. It will enhance and enrich your life for the rest of your years.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I didn't realize that you had done a section on Prince in the New Yorker class, Ken. That's probably a class I could have participated in and contributed meaningfully.
Oh, good.
The classes not so much, but that one I could have handled.
Good.
So, but Ken, Martha, and David, thank you so much for your comments. And here now is the page with some contact information from us. The easiest thing for you to do is to go to our website, which is right there. Or if you're so inclined, we're rather impressed with our ability to now include QR codes. So you can take a picture of the QR code if that's what you want to do. But go to our website or email us or call us, and we will happily answer any questions that you might have. Lisa put in the chat function that if you do have any that if you are interested in requesting a catalog, the easiest thing to do is to go to our website, and in the upper right-hand corner, you can get on our mailing list. I do have some cost information. Our fall semester is $330, but we do have a 10% discount for new members for the fall semester. I will say what you get for that $330, or if you're new for the $297, is you may ultimately take up to 4 classes per semester. We run our courses on a lottery system. So any class that is oversubscribed during our open registration period is subject to a lottery. We do not do our class registrations based on first come, first served. It is a lottery-based system. And on our lottery day, we run a lottery, and then people within a day of that are notified which classes they get into. We ask you to list a series of courses in priority of which most important to you, and that can be based on either subject matter, time of day, whatever works for you. I will say now that we have so many classes on Zoom, most people get their highest priority classes in that lottery process, but you may sign up for 3 classes pre-lottery, and then once the lottery is run, you can sign up for a 4th course. So 4 courses for $300 feels like a good deal to me. These are such great courses as has been described to you. But that is the process. And again, this was all very quick. We have recorded this and we'll send it out to you. And it is all on our website. So with that, we will now.
Tony,
I'm sorry, Martha?
could I just add 2 more things that might be
Please.
helpful?
Please.
It occurred to me that maybe we should let people know that not all classes have homework. Some do, some don't. And the course description in the catalog will indicate whether there is homework for the class. And the other thing is that for those of you who might be tempted to teach, my guess is that the majority of people who teach at OLLI do not have a teaching background. There are people who teach because they have a love and a passion for something and have developed an expertise in it, and they want to share it, not because they have taught it professionally.
No, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. So
Tony, can I interrupt a second and just say
please.
that Somerset has a new teacher at OLLI last year, and he taught the class on art fraud. That's Sheldon Trubach, and he is teaching a class this fall on nuclear energy. So teaching. He's very good, and he might be a stimulus to others here at Somerset to do some teaching.
That is absolutely right. And you beat me to the punch there, Ken, because I was going to invite Sheldon
Okay.
to chime in if he's so inclined. But before he does do that, I just want to say, Ellen just put this in the chat function, but Ellen will make sure that there are some catalogs available in the Somerset Club. So there are some physically already at Somerset, but again, you can contact my office if you would like one otherwise. And now, Sheldon, I invite you to say something if you'd like.
Hi, everybody. This is Sheldon Trubach from Somerset House 2. I've been involved in OLLI here since I've come back to the DC area. As Ken mentioned, I did the presentations on art forgery. I was a professor. I am a lawyer now. I don't let that interfere with my presentations at OLLI. I don't view them as much as a formal class, as an opportunity to expose people to new ideas and to have a lot of dialogue with the members of the group. That's really the great thing that I find about OLLI. And so this fall, I'm going to talk about the renaissance of nuclear power, because several people have asked me about that. And I was a lawyer for the nuclear power industry for a long time. So I'm looking forward to another group that's going to be interactive and interested in the topic. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sheldon. Thank you. So now I will open the floor up for any questions that people have. Lisa is going to help me identify people who have questions. So if there's something in the chat, or if somebody would like to just speak up and have a question, I'm more than happy to try to answer it for you. Okay.
Don't see any hands yet. And there's,
No.
at the moment, there's nothing in the chat.
Okay.
Tony, let me just add, we've talked a lot about the catalog, and our physically printed catalog is beautiful, but you will find that the entire catalog is also online. So if you do go to our website, you can peruse the catalog online and then just sign up right there. It's very easy to do. I signed up last night for my classes for the fall using the website.
Excellent. Excellent. So,
I just wanted to show this.
yeah, so this is our homepage there, and we think it's pretty straightforward to navigate, but you can just click on that button, join email list, which will get you copies of our newsletter, and we can get you a catalog from that. So if there's
a question.
Evelyn has a question.
Yeah. You can start signing up now for classes. And when is the deadline?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. So yes, we have just begun open registration for the fall semester, and the lottery, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's September 5th.
6th.
September 6th, excuse me. So it is an open registration period. And on September 6th, we will run our lottery. And by September 7th, people will know what courses they got into. So yes. Anything else? And for those of you who travel, or just so I can put in a plug for other OLLIs around the country, there are OLLIs in every single state. So if you have friends in other states, you should mention the local programs to your friends there. Each one is different. I think all of the ones I know about are great, but they are all different. So.
And I put in a plug. I was at OLLI for 8 years at UA, and not being dyslexic, it was the University of Arizona. And I did many different types of presentations there. Again, more in the line of exposing people to new ideas and having a lot of interaction back and forth.
Okay, good. Thank
We
you.
have a question from John.
Yeah, I want to just mention a couple of courses or presenters who I have really loved at OLLI, and I don't have the notes in front of me. Karen Armstrong basically teaches a series of courses on slavery, and I have taken all of them, and each one of them is a new slavery from the 1400s to the 1600s, and then from the 1600s to the Civil War, and on in different periods, including up to post-slavery issues. She is excellent, and we have a lot of good discussion in the class. One other presenter, and I'm maybe blanking on this, I shouldn't, is the gentleman who teaches about where to find interesting things in the Washington, D.C. area.
Richard Douglas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these courses basically, some of them include just where to go in Washington that you never could imagine exist. And other ones, I took one on the C&O Canal.
Mm-hmm.
He basically walked us up mile by mile up the C&O Canal to its endpoint, and pointed out all of the historical facts along the way, all of the quarries that were used for different things. Some of these long-term teachers have just been fabulous.
Thank you for saying that. I just to say, the two study group leaders you're referring to, Karen Stewart and Richard Douglas, they are absolutely phenomenal. And I will say, I've mentioned that all of our instructors are volunteers. And this past January, we wanted to find a way to celebrate our longest term study group leaders. So we had an event for everyone who has taught 10 years or more. And we had a couple of study group leaders who have taught with us up until this past semester for 40 years,
Wow.
for 40 years of our 42 years. So that's more than a second career. So it's a real love and passion for the organization, and they really are the heart and soul of who we are and what we do. So, any other questions? No worries if there aren't. Again, if you reach out to us, we're more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. But with that, I don't want to go beyond our allotted time here. So, going once. Well, listen, I want to thank Ellen and Gunilla for setting this up for us, and I want to thank each of you for participating in this, and I hope you just got a little flavor of what it is we have to offer, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you around the halls of OLLI at American University. So with that, thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.
Thanks for taking your time to be with us, and thanks again to Gunilla.
Yeah, thank you all for attending, and for OLLI. You provide so many interesting programs. I feel like it is an extended arm of what we're doing in EEE at Somerset House. So thank you so much. And for those of you who are up for it, 6 o'clock tonight, we have the webinar with the Arthritis Foundation. And if you cannot find your link, call the Clubhouse front desk and they will send it. Very good also. Good. Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank you
all.
very much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye, everybody.